What's up, guys? Hope you guys have a fantastic week so far. I apologize for looking like a complete bum. I've been doing a lot of schoolwork and whatnot, so I kind of look like I am a complete utter bum. So apologies for my appearance. But we got a little treat here. We'll be reacting to, I think it's called Bricky. He does Warhammer. So we'll be reacting to every single Warhammer 40k faction. And since this video is extremely long, we'll be doing multiple parts, probably 2 at the most, 3. We'll kind of see how I get in this video. I don't want to make it super long because who wants to watch a really long video, right? And the person who recommended it, it's right up there or over there, depending where I can fit it in. So thank you for this suggestion. I appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys in a second. What's up, guys? So if you may be looking here, I look a little different, wearing different clothes and whatnot. I'm actually recording this on another day than what the intro was. I actually recorded about 13 to 14 minutes of this until I realized that my capture wasn't working. So, because of that, I had to, redo the video, which is what I'm doing now. And I didn't want to do the exact same day because then the reaction wouldn't be that genuine. Still fresh in my mind. So, give myself a day to just kind of wipe out a little bit so I don't remember everything about this. I know like a few details, but we didn't get too far in the video. So, we'll probably get to where the Space Marines are and look through that a little bit, and then we'll probably cut off there, and then we'll do a second part probably in the following day or two after this, because I know that he has this part 1. I believe he has part 2. I don't know about a part 3, but I know he has 2 separate videos that are covering all this, because from what I know about Warhammer, which isn't a lot, which is why I'm watching this, which again, thank you for the recommendation. I do really appreciate it because I love learning about new things, and this is another area that I always wanted to peek into. But there's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of stuff to learn. I mean, for the little bit of time that I did watch this video, there was a lot in just this very short frame of time. So without further ado, let's get to it.
With various things depending on which faction we are currently talking about, to add a little bit more context and possible comedy to whatever the hell
Hello, okay. That's random.
Hello everybody,
Forgot about
my
that.
name is Bricky, and this is going to be a long video and a large project that has been
You just check all his stuff there.
some time. This is, I need 2 hands for this. This is every single Warhammer 40k race in kind of a nutshell, explained, a little bit of
I thought they were factions, actually. I remember this part when I first watched it. I thought they were factions. For instance, let's say you wanted to join this race per se. I thought that you would just join that faction. Like if you were into what they believed in and what they followed, then you would join said faction. But do they go by race instead? That's weird. If there's anyone that can clarify that in the comments, I would totally appreciate it.
Explanation, a little bit of lore, a little bit of talking about the tabletop, mostly lore, what they're all about, and also a little bit of background for those of you who just have no clue what Warhammer 40,000 is.
Yeah, only a little bit of knowledge.
Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000 is a universe people
Badass.
hear plenty of, but don't know a whole lot about. They see, oh, there's these dudes in big power armor with chainsaw swords, and they got these big old...
From the video I did before this, when it was like that funny animated one or whatever, I do know that those are Space Marines. I'm so sorry with the mistakes in that last video. But I do know who Space Marines are to a point. They're basically this universe's, this reality's super soldiers, which are basically just people that are on insane shit. Extra organs, insane weapons, fast reactions, super strength, all that. Just basically they just took the definition of like the definition of OP and just stuck some steroids in it, and Space Marine. That's my view on them, at least, which I don't think that's too far-fetched. I mean, they're pretty crazy. And what I do know about them too is each faction has some differences, right? I could be wrong with this, but I've seen different kinds of Space Marines. They have different insignias on them, different color combinations, which I love. I love that so much about just like the different variety. It's like they're all a space marine or they're all just a soldier, but they have unique characteristics that differentiate them from, you know, the other branches, the other legions, you know. And I love that because it makes it have its own personality, but it's what makes them unique. And I love that, which is kind of why I'm excited to actually look into this, the 40k universe because it's so unique. There's so much weird shit that you can learn about this stuff for years and you still will learn something new, which is just awesome.
Green orcs, and there's some
I love
bugs
it.
over there, and everyone calls these guys weebs, and then there's these spiky bitches over here, and I don't get it. I don't understand. Where do I start? Well, this video is particularly for you,
Thank
or
you.
for those of you who have a little bit of knowledge, but you're kind of curious about each of the different races and factions in Warhammer. So overall, the Warhammer universe is vast.
No shit, that's
Comes with
huge.
lore and background, and each different faction is
Hello.
so different with the things that they believe.
It's more than I
in.
thought.
And some are human, some are transhuman, like where they all have all these
Whoa, that's
crazy-ass
cool.
electronics on them. You've got aliens, you've got the chaos factions, and there's so
I've actually learned about this guy a little bit. Isn't his entire goal to make the most like, or at least their higher ups or whatever, I don't know the exact terminology for it, but their goal is to spread like the most ridiculous, insane disease. It's like the zombie apocalypse, just dialed to 12, you know? And from what I remember hearing was if you get infected by said disease, it basically you're still conscious of your own self, but you're controlled by it, and it like you slowly decay, and like your entire purpose then is just to spread that disease, which are the guys on the bottom of the screen you see there. Those are like the minions, people that were turned into creatures or creatures already. Like that's messed up, man. So I do know a little bit about him though, but it's a little nasty.
much to entail that I decided to embark on this project to tell you what each and every single one of them is about.
Thank you.
And what the Warhammer universe is about as well, to give at least a little bit of an intro to this extremely bloated but very, very enjoyable world that I and many others partake in. So, I will be explaining every single faction in the
So
Warhammer
many
40k universe, at least all the factions you can play as, and some smaller factions.
I'm trying to look at some of these really quick here. Again, I'll go back to like the differences just in between the different factions, like you were just saying a second ago, is just by looking at them, you could just see just such distinct differences between them. You know, like there's some similarities obviously, but it's like you could just by a quick glance, you can just tell that there's something so unique about each of these that they don't share any similar characteristics in some degree. I know about orcs; these guys are something, but yet they got space wolves, and you got it's so cool to put it like lightly.
I will not be discussing absolutely everything in it because that is a little bit much, and I'm not going to go too mega deep into the lore. I'm going to give you a pretty solid overview of each of the different factions and have you learn a little bit about them, and we'll discuss a little bit of the tabletop as well in case you were curious about that. But for this episode entirely, we are discussing the Imperium of Man because
Cool
that
title.
takes up a fat chunk of Warhammer lore. What is Warhammer 40,000? Well, the 40,000 starts off is the year 40,000. The 41st millennium, that's where it takes place, is in the year
Makes sense.
40,000, 41,000 AD. You're already more knowledgeable. Let me read you a quote, first of many quotes in this video. It is the 41st millennium. For more than 100 years, the Emperor has sat immobile on the
Centuries. That's a couple more zeros there. you know, he says 100 years. I'm like, oh, it's not bad. I read it again. I'm fine. I'm like, oh, 100 centuries. Oh, that's a couple more zeros there, my man.
golden throne of earth. He is the master of mankind by the will of the gods, and master of 1,000,000 worlds by the might of his inexhaustible armies. He is a rotting carcass, writhing invisibly with power from the dark age of technology. He is the carrion lord of the Imperium, for whom 1,000 souls are sacrificed every day
What?
so that he may never truly die. To be a man in such times is to be amongst untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable. These are the tales of those times. Forget the power of technology and science, for so much has been forgotten, never to be relearned. Forget the promise of progress and understanding, for in the grim, dark future, there is only war. There is no peace amongst the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter, and the laughter of thirsting gods.
Man, that sounds wonderful. How about we all take a vacation down there? That sounds great, you know? Maybe they wouldn't have lost that technology if they weren't, constantly killing each other. Maybe they sat down, had a nice, cup of coffee, and they'd be like, you know what, listen, this technology that we basically like treat as like the hierarchy and like the highest level of appraisal. Yeah. So we can't learn that anymore, right? No. Well, why not? Well, I mean, we keep on just slaughtering each other and killing planets and whatnot. Oh, well, maybe that's the problem. But at the same time, it's way cooler to see them just like slaughter each other. It's way more entertaining. I mean, that sounds messed up, but I'm like, would you rather have like a goody goody two shoes story or like 10,000 space marines just like jumping from midair to into orbit to like the planet's surface, just like blowing everything up? I'd rather take option two personally. That sounds um, just slightly more entertaining, personally.
Everything blows.
There
And it
you go.
blows fucking hard.
It's the best way to sum it up.
Warhammer is
Outlaw.
probably the most dark and depressing universes ever in fiction. Or at least,
Vacation time.
Top 3. Everything is so
Damn!
absurdly horrible, destructive, or over.
Yo, that's huge. That's all. That's so cool looking. What the hell? Those missiles and shit. That's so cool. Oh, that's so cool.
It's like Dota. War rages across the galaxy. Interstellar travel is only possible due to sacrificing 1,000 souls a day to a rotting carcass of a man who you believe to be your god. Demonic gods and just demons tear open the fabric of reality on a whim. Other Xenos.
So basically, like, I'll be making a sandwich, and while I'm making that sandwich, 1,000 people are getting killed and sent to a rotting carcass so that they can fly through space. But while I'm making the sandwich, a demon might break through the reality of my plane of existence and try to take my sandwich and kill me. That sucks. That sucks. Like, why would you want to know? I don't want to live here. And before we continue to some of the stuff I do know about this is I did learn about how they do that, like, travel, whatnot. Besides the fact that they have to sacrifice 1,000 souls, which I just learned there, they have to refuel it. And I thought they would just like take a jerry can and like, you know what I'm saying? But no, they just take this one poor guy and a couple of them, give him the fuel and whatnot, and a ton of painkillers, and they make them march to refuel their ship. And to put it shortly, it slowly kills you, and not like you just like are walking and you croak. No, you start slowly like falling apart. And I'm sitting in my chair, eating some Oreos. I'm just like, is there anything about this universe that's pleasurable? I'm like, oh, farm worlds, that's nice. Nah, you get attacked by pirates. Roll can just die. Just I'm like, is there anything good about living here? Like, is there any like perk, or you just like you get born, you get handed a shotgun, and they put you in the front lines? 40k universe. But that's as much I know about it. But
or even other humans end up killing each other in untold billions across the galaxy.
There it is.
It is a time of unending war,
cool shot.
Slaughter, and a bloodbath amongst everybody.
Oh,
Planets
lovely.
Are deemed unrecoverable and are completely destroyed on a whim. Everything sucks, but that's like the charm of it.
It's like what I just said.
Everything in Warhammer
Oh,
is
so cool.
evil, but but being evil is kind of fun. Like,
Facts.
humanity in its own right is a xenophobic, prejudice, and religious zealot group.
I got that from a
kill
little bit
each
now.
other just as much as they kill all of their enemies. And they're like mid to high tier evil on the evil scale.
Wait, so he just covered the Imperium of Man, which is mankind. He just said a quick summary of the stuff they do and what they go against other opposition and whatnot, and they're not even number one. It just says that guy. That guy. All of a sudden, like they're in war and they're like, oh, not that guy. Guys who bring food. Huh. Wow. I don't think there's anything else I can learn from this that solidifies how messed up this world is. I mean, I'm gonna be shocked regardless, but it's pretty straightforward in 5 minutes in about how messed up this place is.
Scale of Warhammer, nobody is good. No matter who you are, everyone is some flavor,
I know these people were.
color of evil. Whoever you pick, you are going to be the bad guy.
Cool.
But that's the fun of it.
Facts.
Because being the bad guy is badass. Villains are cool. They look cool. They got cool outfits. They got cool weapons. They got cool armies. Villains are cool, man. And when everyone is a villain, everyone is pretty cool. That's what makes this so charming, is that everyone can be the bad guy. So let's start off talking about the main bad guy, quote unquote, the Imperium of Man.
Apology for the very weird cut. If you ever see a cut like that, I'll either put in like a little like snippet of like a transition, just because that was an ad on YouTube. But if you see any weird cuts like that, just know it was an ad. Don't think I like mess up the video where I just put a bad cut in there to look, terrible one. Just know it's an ad. Just a heads up, right? Because there's gonna be a lot of them. This is a long video, so just a heads up.
The Imperium of Man is the main empire of the human race. All of humanity is under this one flag called the Imperium.
That's a beautiful shot.
About 10,000 years ago, there was a man. He was the emperor. The emperor of
Damn,
Man.
okay. Armor looking fleek.
Tall, psychic demigod who led humanity across the stars to colonize tons and tons of worlds.
That's so
create
cool.
Superhuman soldiers and really bring humanity into a new age. This man, the Emperor of Mankind, was a psyker. And a psyker is like a magician of sorts.
Okay.
In the world of 40k, there is the warp, the immaterium, kind of like hell, but sort of like a purgatory dimension of hell. And a psyker is someone who can take that power and manifest it through their mind to use it to do stuff, like witchcraft stuff, magician stuff, spells, and lots of other things, but we don't want to get too into that. The Emperor, big boy psyker.
That's cool and all, but like, wouldn't you in theory go like crazy? I mean, he basically said you're taking this power of purgatory / hell and using your mind to use it to do spells and whatnot, but wouldn't that make you go mad like that? In theory, I mean, think how vast that is. I mean, you're taking its whole separate entity of power and manifesting to just your mind. I don't know. I mean, it worked great for this guy, but shit. I mean, he's probably like 10 foot tall, fucking 300 pounds of pure utter chadness. So, I guess he's just built different, literally.
Top tier, A+, maybe even S.
Well, there you go.
The Emperor created a bunch of sons. Yes, created a bunch of sons known as the Primarks.
Oh.
He created 18 Primarks to have them lead all of the different legions of humanity to the different stars and planets to help colonize and bring it out. These Primarks are basically like little versions of the Emperor. Not all of them are psychers, but a lot of them are very, very powerful, and they lead his special Space Marine legions. Then this big clusterfuck happened called the Horus Heresy, where the Emperor's favorite son, the Primarch, Horus, ended up joining Chaos and leading 9 of the 18, half of his Primarchs directly to Earth to fight down the Emperor himself. Now, if you want to know what Chaos is, remember what I mentioned earlier? The warp, that immaterium, the hellish place? In there relies the 4 Chaos gods. Imagine like Satan and 3 other Satans.
Is there anything like to look forward to in this universe at all? He didn't just say Satan, he said 3 other ones, which just why not, right? Why not? Why not? Um, the guy on the bottom left is the one I talked about earlier. I know about him to a degree. To the right, the chick, no idea. Guy above, no idea. He's like a face where his special area is supposed to be. The guy on the far left, don't know who he is, but he looks badass. So that's about all I got.
The warp being kind of evil, those chaos gods, that's the reason. And so those chaos gods manipulated Horus, and then Horus helped manipulate
Damn,
all
he's
8
huge.
other Primarks to lead this giant coup directly on the Emperor on Earth. And they fucked up shit. After this huge civil war, Horus died, but not before brutally wounding the Emperor, and right at the end of his life, they put the Emperor on this large golden throne on Earth, in which he is now alive, just barely, but slowly rotting away, powering something called the Astronomicon, so long as he stays alive, and is fed 1,000 people a day. The Astronomicon is like the North Star. If you want to do interstellar travel in 40k, you need to pass through that demonic warp I mentioned earlier. But how do you know where you're going? Well, the Emperor is there putting a nice little navigator right there. He helps navigate you to know where you're going. If you want to go from Earth to some crazy solar system across the way, you need to go through that warp, and then you need to know where you're going, go through there, and pop your way out. It's like doing nether travel in Minecraft, so you can shorten the distance between
That's a nice
going
analogy.
areas. So long as the Emperor is alive and being fed 1,000 people a day to stay alive, you can do that. The moment he dies, interstellar travel's gone for all of humanity. You're so boned. Now, since the Horus Heresy 10,000 years ago, the Imperium has fallen from grace substantially. All technology has started to dwindle and die. There is now giant fundamental religious extremists
lovely.
that now believe the Emperor of Mankind was a deity, a true living god, which is probably the last thing the Emperor would have wanted to be remembered for. So now you have this thing called the...
First of all, that's a cool ass building. He's about to cover what that is. What exactly was the Emperor? Basically, what did he want to be remembered as? Just someone who, as like, just like a hero that brought about the new age of humanity? Because now the dream was a god, and from what he said, he didn't want that. So, what was really his end goal? He may have covered it, I may have just missed it, but if you guys can kind of clear that up in the comments, I'd totally appreciate that.
The Ecclesiarchy, which is this giant church.
Oh, it's a church!
Devoted to spreading the good word of the
Jeez,
Emperor.
it's
He
huge!
is now the Holy Emperor God, the God Emperor of mankind. And all of the Imperium has taken up worshiping him to the fullest extent and killing anything that isn't humanity in his name. The Imperium has this futuristic gothic tone to it,
Telling
and
me.
a hefty religious zealotry to them.
Whoa.
If you think anything against the Emperor, that's heresy and you deserve to die. That is called being a heretic. Heretics die in 40k. There is no such thing as freedom of religion. There is no such thing as freedom of speech, so long as you...
So I'm just going to use like one of the most, or the best way I can compare this to a different kind of reality that I am familiar with. Halo, because I played Halo. The covenant they did with like heretics, like if like with the covenant they were a highly religious, over the top group, like these members of the 40k universe, all the different areas of the 40k universe, and if you went against them, you were considered a heretic and you were to die. You know what I'm saying? So I guess I can kind of like, put that connection with this to a degree and kind of understand it a little bit. But again, this entire reality and universe is just completely just shit. like, like, what's the point? Like, you have no freedoms. Everyone wants to kill you. If you say anything out of line, you die. If you don't do this, you die. You get sent here, you die. It's like, what's the point? What's the point?
Are against the Emperor. There is no such thing as any kind of tolerance.
Oh.
Everyone is a religious zealot.
Lovely.
Some more than others, but no matter what, you're preaching that good word. So right now, Everyone in humanity is trying to expand their empire across the stars. If you are a heretic, someone who doesn't believe in the Emperor, you are deserving of death. If you believe in the Chaos Gods, you are also a heretic and you deserve death. If you are an alien race of any kind, you are a filthy Xenos and you deserve death as well.
Wow,
So
that's
long
nice.
as the murder
Jeez.
continues and humanity expands, the Imperium of Man is very, very happy. However, the largest fighting force of this Imperium is my personal favorite faction, and the first faction we will discuss, the Astra Militarum, or also known as the Imperial Guard.
They look cool. Solid.
The Imperial Guard is the main fighting force of the Imperium, and in a world of horrifying creatures, galactic monstrosities, the literal demons themselves breaking through the fabric of time to kill you, the Imperial Guard are untold billions of regular men and women wearing modern day, like, flak armor with a laser rifle.
Okay, first of all, that armor ain't gonna do shit. That's like some Star Wars type of shit. Like, oh, we have this fancy armor for you. Dead. You know what I'm saying? Now they do have a laser rifle, so that might be good, you know. But the armor, I haven't even watched them in combat. I already know that shit don't do nothing. It just looks cool.
This is the humble las gun.
Looks cool.
The main weapon of the Imperial Guard. It fires superheated plasma lasers at an extremely fast fire rate. It is reliable, never jams. It can blow off limbs, giant holes in concrete.
What?
It is overall an extremely devastating weapon.
Wait, so every infantry soldier has that really powerful rifle? It doesn't jam. It's reliable. It can blow your leg and arm off and limbs in general. It can blow a hole through concrete. I mean, like a 50 cal, you know, like a 50 BMG has that kind of stopping power. But if you ever seen anyone shoot up like a 50 BMG, like the 50 cal, the Barrett, the recoil of the thing's insane. So you got millions of foot soldiers carrying a laser rifle that doesn't jam, that probably has very little to none recoil, because why not? And has that stopping power. That's insane.
In modern day, it is one of the weakest in the 40k universe.
What? Okay. I know with Space Marines that their guns are insane. Okay, like there's some big ass dudes, you know. So it makes sense that their guns are stronger. But you're saying that their guns, these laser weapons, compared to the Space Marines, which is an unfair, connection, but to other soldiers and whatnot, their guns are the weakest. They can blow holes through concrete and blow your leg off in like a shot, and they don't jam. And they're one of the weakest? It's referred to as a flashlight. Okay, why not?
Yeah, a laser rifle that never jams, it could blow off limbs, one of the weakest weapons.
Right?
That's the world we're in right now.
Jeez.
But who cares? Because the Imperial Guard has, in each battle, 500,000
Why not?
of these men and women. 30,000 large armored tanks, 10,000 artillery batteries. The Imperial Guard wins through sheer numbers and firepower. They kind of have this World War I, World War II style aesthetic, with legions of guardsmen as well as high company commanders and generals on the field along with them, and multiple kinds of troops.
Those guys look sick.
Imperial Guard battle starts off with artillery, long lines of artillery, cracking the crust of the planet underneath the enemy's feet. And as this barrage continues, hundreds of thousands of guardsmen, a sea of guardsmen surges forward, firing and charging at everything possible, while the planet rumbles as tanks roll up behind them. Gunships block out the sun and tanks block out the dirt with the steps and hoof prints of millions of guardsmen.
Carvana's had a lot of firsts. 100% online car buying, car vending machines, and now putting...
It is through...
Got our ad, guys. Sorry about the cut.
numbers and sheer sundering firepower, they are the first and last line of defense for the Imperium and make up a huge bulk of the battles. The Imperial Guard is also made up of tons of different kinds of regiments. The Catachin Jungle Fighters,
Rambo.
live in a death world
Basically Rambo.
that's more hospitable than almost any firefight they'll ever get into. So they just have this steroid-looking, giant knife, Rambo Predator-looking sons of
Yes!
bitches, where nothing is anywhere near as scary as a simple knight on their home planet. You have the Valhallan Winter Soldiers who haven't felt their toes
That's
in
awesome.
300 years. The Mordian Iron Guard, who are more interested in making their shoes shine than actually fighting a battle. And then, of course, the big one, the
That's cool. You kind of see some similarities from like, our history with those kind of like guardsmen. I don't really know what to put with the Rambo guys, but you got like the guys in like the cold and whatnot. Those are like, you can say like Russians and whatnot because they have the kind of hats and they're in the cold, and whatnot. So that's pretty cool. I never knew that they had that, very unique legions. I thought it was just these guys.
Acadians from Cadia. The biggest
Arcadia.
export of guardsmen in the entirety of the Imperium. You will fire your first gun at 5. You will disassemble and reassemble it at 10. You will have pounding artillery drills day in and day out at 15. And you'll fight your first swarm lord at 16.
These guys are built different. Okay, so the best way I can compare them to something that happened in real life, I'd say like Spartans, from Sparta, from the ancient times. It's kind of how they went about. Like when you were, born and you were going to become a warrior. From the day you were born, you were trained to fight. You fought each other. You did challenges. Grueling things. You fought, etc., etc. at such a young age. So that's what they're doing, with the Arcadians, that's a whole nother level. That's a whole different ballpark. It sounds absolutely just awful, but it's probably the best kind of people I can compare them to. If that's a good enough analogy, that is.
And if you mention Cadia, you will burst into an unrelenting amount of tears and sadness like I do daily. To quote, I have at my command an entire battle group of the Imperial Guard, 50 regiments including specialized drop troops, stealthers, mechanized formations, armored companies, combat engineers, and mobile artillery. Over 500,000 fighting men and 30,000 tanks and artillery pieces are mine to command. Emperor, show mercy to the fool that stands against me, for I shall not. The Imperial Guard are my personal favorite faction in 40k. They're the army I collect the most, the ones I enjoy playing the most, and the one I enjoy in the lore sense a lot. There's something about just a regular man with a laser rifle being told to charge the horrors of this universe and willingly doing so for his god emperor. It's just poetic.
And insane.
Represent the main Imperial Guard tactics pretty well. Large amounts of artillery that doesn't require a line of sight, lots of tanks, tons of infantry, drop troops, and gunships. Overall, they're pretty similar to how they sound, though a little bit expensive to collect, unfortunately. And they don't hit a lot. They have a bit of a bad aim, but you don't really care because you're just drowning them in shots. However, if you want more accurate fire and specialization, we can move on to talk about Space Marines.
Damn. That guy looks sick.
The Angels of Death are up next. Space Marines are genetically engineered super soldiers and superhumans. They're given extra organs, their skin tissue is toughened, their bones are stronger, they're taller than the average person. They're pretty massive people, and these are the specialized super soldiers that carry out a lot of the more specific tasks for the Imperium. And there's tons of legions of them. In fact, there's one per Primarch. Each Primarch, the Emperor's son, as I mentioned before, oversees their legion.
There's like 18 legions of them.
The genetic upgrade they get is based on the genes of said Primarch. It's something called a gene seed. That's what brings them up to this like superhuman level. As stated, each Primarch has their own legion. Robot Girly Man has the Ultramarines. Jagatai Khan has
those guys look sick.
Rogel Dorn has the Imperial Fists. Corvus Korax
Aye.
has the Raven Guard. And there's a whole bunch of other side sections that are also.
So these are just some of them. The thing that caught my eye, you can see the size of the legion by the feet of each of the Space Marines. That's a lot. I mean, you can say, well, each legion is this many, but still, like, that's millions in total of Space Marines. These super soldier, insanely powerful people. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them, man. Now, compared to the amount of foot soldiers and whatnot, compared to them is, you know, I don't even want to think about the math, per how many normal soldiers to one Space Marine, um, but still, having this many insanely powerful super soldiers per legion, that's a lot. I mean, the one at the top left has 200,000 of them, 250,000 down here. Jeez Louise.
Extremely interesting and have a
Because
little
why
bit more
not,
information
right?
about average Space Marines, which we will discuss in a bit. Humorously enough, I don't have a whole lot to say about Space Marines. They're superhumanly fast. In fact, it's been said that nothing that large should move that quick. These men in power armor moving at blazing fast speeds. Their reflexes are faster. Their skin is tougher. They are overall just extremely powerful soldiers. In fact, where they
He wasn't.
differ comes down to which Space Marine Legion we're talking about. For instance, the Ultramarines done by Robot Gilliman, are the main blue boys, strong in almost every way, the jack of all trades kind of group that are a little bit too strong, and that's a lore problem, but the White Scars by Jagatai Khan are all about speed freaks, go fast. We're talking
Cool.
attack bikes, we're talking land speeders, you want to go in quick, you want to hit them hard, you want them to be swarming around like buzzflies. Buzzsaws.
Buzzsaws.
With the speed of buzzsaws. Fuck you, Pale King. Salamanders love fire. Fire in the forge.
That's
fire
sick.
in battle. Flamers, melta-guns, multi-meltas. Just so long as something can be burning, that's big. And they're also actually some of the nicest of the Space Marines. A lot of Space Marines have
Really?
a holier-than-thou thing.
That's really cool. Also great writing too, because when you think of fire, what do you think of? Well, kind of the evil. You know what I'm saying? Like people who like, flamethrowers and whatnot, at least in games and movies and whatnot, tend to be, well, I'm talking like sci-fi kind of stuff like this. I'm not saying if a guy is like in a war, like in World War II, as a flamethrower, they're an evil person, not by any means necessary at all. But when you kind of think of it, you think of, evil, guys messed up because, you get burned, you kind of feel it. It's not really like a way to go out. You kind of feel me there. But that's a really cool contrasting kind of like, thing is that they like flames. They like anything that can burn, which is that feeling of, messed up craziness, insanity, but at the same time they care the most about, people, civilians and stuff, which is really cool to think about. That's such a great contrast, and you would never expect that coming from them. Like if I didn't watch this video and I saw these guys just burning everything down, I think they're insane. But it turns out they're the most, caring, the most understanding, at least from what he's saying. That's really cool.
Because of their genetic strength. However, the Salamanders tend to put human lives above the lives of themselves.
Wow.
Which is actually rather rare.
Yeah.
They're also all black.
Huh.
Not like just regular black, like 2 a.m. Like they have a sharp.
Just watch an episode of Family Guy. I might edit it in. I don't know. It depends if I can find. They did a really funny skit with that. If you watch it, they'll make that joke you just said 50 times funnier. But
The White Castle. Huh. Name's a little deceiving.
these guys look sick though.
Charcoal, dark, ashy exterior,
Huh.
and blazing red eyes.
Whoa.
Apparently,
That's
something about being
intimidating,
on their
though.
home planet of Nocturne, which I don't know if that makes much sense, but who cares? This is like fantasy land anyway. Overall, Salamanders are actually one of my personal favorite legions because they're just really cool. They're fun to play as because of all their flamer weapons, and they have a nice, like, more heartwarming lore as opposed to being super evil like everyone else is. Oh my god, we're not even a quarter of the way through the Space Marine Legion.
Jeez.
Imperial Fists believe in the power of the siege and defensive positions. Raven Guards, master of stealth and sabotage while having burn helmets. Iron Hands, masters of machines and vehicles while being really goddamn good at being sold on eBay after one nerf. Space Wolves, Vikings, and
Those guys look
wolves,
sick.
guns
Look at that
and
wolf on his back.
and axes, battle axes, fur everywhere.
Course not reliable
Space
with the code
wolves,
of it, but-
angry, big teeth, Blood Angels, the genetic defect to make them want to drink blood and go.
What? Yo, I don't want that one, dude. I don't want no. No, I rather have a bird mask than have a no. No, it's like it's like you're just in the middle of combat. There's just some guys that are just making like, nice shake. If you get where I'm going with that. I'm sorry.
Crazy, called the Red Thirst. They have Cupid wings
Hell
and stuff.
no.
It's a little bit strange, and they are all super.
That's what's strange? Sure, they got wings and all, which is weird, but that's the line you cross, not the fact that they drink blood regularly. No, but the wings cross that line. I think the line was crossed on the first thing. The wings are just an added bonus to what the hell.
Super gay for Sanguinius.
Okay, hello.
Angels are old school knights and
That's
inner
cool.
circle theme and.
Wait, what?
Are you a heretic?
That's the way you said that.
Death Watch, fancy pantsy
That's cool.
Xenos group that nobody plays because
Oh.
Death Watch. And
But they look cool. Hey, see, there we go. It's the exact same time. There we go.
Watch, they're there though. Black Templars for the people who, if you haven't prayed at least 3 times a day, you're gonna start praying out that airlock. And I'm sure there's some other chapters I may have missed as well, like Crimson Fists and stuff. But those are the main ones right here. Here, quote from the Emperor himself. They shall be my finest warriors, these men who give of themselves to me. Like clay I shall mold them, and in the furnace of war I shall forge them. They shall be of iron will and steely sinew. In great armor I shall clad them, and with the mightiest weapons shall they be armed. They will be untouched by plague or disease, no sickness shall blight them. They shall have such tactics, strategies, and machines that no foe will best them in battle. They are my bulwark against the terror. They are my defenders of humanity. They are my space marines, and they shall know no fear. And on the tabletop, they fuck. Oh, they fuck hard. As of making this video, Space Marines are laughably strong. That might change at some point, but overall, Space Marines just have it's like a Swiss Army knife, a tool for anything you need, except it's like a gold-plated Swiss Army knife. It is extremely strong. If you are actually getting into the tabletop of Warhammer, Space Marines are a great start. Also, whatever gameplay style you have, whether you want to be sit back with long range and heavy weaponry, go fast and run in, or even just full melee, all of these options are totally there for you.
Damn.
Space Marines are super badass, but unfortunately,
For sure.
it's time we start praying to our new god, the 2011.
All right, I'm probably gonna pause it here, guys, because he's about to switch to a whole new category. It's been almost like 22 minutes of this, and we'll leave off here. But that was sick. I did not know Space Marines were that, in depth. I was thinking about how they compare to like a Doomslayer, which I know Doomslayer is probably just stronger because of the fact that he can't physically die. You really can't beat someone who just doesn't die, But I wonder, like, strength-wise, where Space Marines are at. Like, if Doomslayer's up here, they here, I'm just curious because, they're both, a super soldier. I know when if you compare, like, Master Chief, like, Chief's really strong. Maybe in a one-on-one, it could be a decent fight, but I don't know enough about this lore to really compare them. But I just wonder where they are with Doom because Doomslayer's world is kind of like this to a point. Like, if the 40k universe is like a whole pie, like Doom's is like an eighth of that pie when you go to like hell and whatnot, where it's just like, what the hell, literally. But let me know what you guys think. I'd love to see what you guys have to think about that. But yeah, the original video will be in the description. Please check him out, support him. He put so much work in this. I can just tell from his edits to his jokes, to the way he keeps his story going, to just the way he talks about it with the passion he has in his voice when he talks about it. And he wrote an entire script. Like, if you go back from where we ended here, about 4 or 5 minutes back, you'll see him holding his papers. It's a whole ass almost like essay. You know what I'm saying? He put a lot of effort into this, so I appreciate him doing that, so I can react to it, so then you guys can help me along in this journey to learn about the 40k universe. So I appreciate that immensely. Again, his video will be in the description as well. And my Twitch and Discord will be there as well. If you guys want to check that out, I would totally appreciate that, as I'm trying to be more active on those separate platforms. And I'll see you guys in the next one for part 2. All right, take it easy, guys. I'll see you soon.